the section on guides for communication. This is the second section of what we're going through. Guides communicate with us all the time. They never really stop. So if you believe that you don't have communication with your guides, it's just possibly because you're not picking it up. There could be things that are going on already that you just don't recognize as coming from them. They do communicate by voice, images, signs, messages, and messages can be on the TV, in books, where text is highlighted, on the computer, on the clock where you see similar time all the time, like 11:11 or 3:33 or 6:66, just for fun. Why not mention that one? Okay, so we do get these multiple similar numbers that pop up. A lot of people attribute it to angel messages. Those can be very much messages from guides as well. Then they can place things in your path everywhere. Like I was saying in the previous section, in the definition of guides, that I've received some feathers from my guide, and when I didn't pick them up, I actually relocated to a different place and was in my way yet again. So very much all the time there's communication to you, and what we need to do is to learn to listen and pay attention. In the previous course, one of the things that I did talk about, and I will just remind you, is that in order to have a better understanding of, or a better connection with a vocal message, is to listen to your environment more, to distinguish between normal sounds and messages in your direct environment. If you want to then have more visual messages coming through, images coming through, well, pay attention to your physical environment and the slight nuances that are occurring in it. So very much paying attention to the physical signs. Well, also if you have feelings about things, or if you have like thoughts coming in your head, it's almost like it comes to the fore. It's when a word comes up, it's almost like the word forms in your head. It's not like you think of it. It's like it almost forms by itself. It has its own character. So it's not something you are thinking about. So if I think of the word top, which is many different things, and if I think of the word top, then I kind of see it in a specific place. If I then say to a guide, okay, well, show me a message and make it the word top, I want to see where it comes from, then I feel it in a very different place, and it's got a very different feeling to it. So it is very important to pay attention to where something in your head is coming from. If you get a random thing popping into your head, kind of get a feel from where it comes from. And then it starts with you having a thought or imagining something in your own mind, imagining a sound in your mind. So you can play a song for yourself, you can sing a song in your head. I'm not going to sing right now, I'm going to spare you that. But if you sing a song in your head, you can hear where the song is coming from. So if you hear a song in your head at other points in time, you can hear that it comes from a slightly different place, have a different feeling to it, and so forth. All right, so and then also imagine images in your mind. You can imagine you can imagine a house with a white picket fence and a dream guy or something if you want to. That's up to you. You can also imagine a new knife, which is something I'm looking at the moment. So you can imagine what that looks like in your mind's eye, and then where does that come from? And if you say, okay, well, I want to understand what knife would be best to buy, well, then that can pop up in a different area, and that is also not what I expected. So let's see. I'll test that out. Okay, so it's very important to then understand where is it that your things are coming from, and then also to pay attention when you do get something popping in your head, if it comes from a different place. So it's very important to then notice ideas, thoughts, and patterns of your own. So this is what I've shown on my little mannequin, is that they then get their own idea. And then when we get a guided message, then that guided message we also get it in our heads. We also pay attention that it pops up in our heads. It comes as different kinds of messages, but then this is then coming from guides to us. Just to recap, notice your own thought patterns, so where your own thoughts are coming from, and notice what it feels like. And then if you get a message from a guide, it actually feels like something from outside. It comes like a message, and then it is a message, and then see it as such. So meaning that when you get something popping in your head and it comes from a different place and it's not something that is standard that you normally would think about or normally would consider, then see it as a message, accept it as a message, and then use it as such. Another thing to consider is that sometimes the message is not of the realm of people, so the message kind of is very original. It's something that you haven't heard or seen or read anywhere. So, and it's also not like people talk. So we have a certain a way that we talk. If you listen to a couple of my videos, you find that I have a couple of annoying habits, and that's the way that I speak. I try and edit some of that out, luckily for you. But we have a certain way of speaking, and the way that guides speak are sometimes a little bit different. There might be some nuances in their way of speech that then comes up all the time. Their message and their way of communicating is special and unique to them, and then also to your relationship with them, of course. And then I've got a comment here that when you get a message from them, you go, so that is something that pops up. To repeat, when you have something that you are thinking of in your own mind, it really comes from a very specific place, then you can basically identify that section where your images are coming from, where things that you think about are coming from. Then you can almost feel the messages from spirit that are coming from a very different place in your head. So you can also hear it from outside of your head. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be inside your head. It can come from outside, and you can feel and hear that it comes from a very different place. So then you can go, when you get it. So I hope this makes sense and that you can get a better idea of it. The bigger thing to do here is to play around with this concept. Get your own ideas, ask for messages. One of the ways that really works is by doing something that is arbitrary. I've done a lot of this while walking and then not thinking of anything. And then what I do is while I'm walking, my body is occupied, so then I can really free my mind up. If you do dishes or something like that, you can do it as well. If you're a very skilled meditator, you can do the same thing. If you have a very keen sense of communication inside your own mind, if you communicate with yourself a lot, I know my daughter has this gift. She really gets her messages very quickly and clearly from her guides, and a lot of other people do as well. The difference between them and someone like me is that I'm a lot in my own head and I clutter my own mind. So the way to alleviate that is by uncluttering your own mind. Really put your focus on messages from outside of yourself and not on your own thoughts or your own ideas. And then that it also helps to cut out the outside influence, the outside messages, and then give yourself that opportunity to then experience the messages that are coming to you. So that is the way to approach it, and I hope this helps you. What we're going to do in the practical is very much look at somebody else, see where guides pop up. This is very much about you, but then what you can do for a sitter is then you can see what way does the guide communicate to them. How would they be able to get their messages? If they don't get the messages, you can then receive the messages on their behalf, pass it on, tell them that they should buy a motorcycle so that the guide can have a bit of fun. And what you can then do is you can also see how is the guide trying to communicate with them and say to them, look, Did you find that feather on your front porch the other day? Yes, I did. That is a gift from your guides. They are telling you that they're around, and yeah, you can pay them some attention. Or you can say, have you seen the number 1111 or 666 repeatedly? If so, then say, well, that's a message from your guides. They're telling you that the end is near of your bond repayments. Just kidding. Okay, so very much possibility for us to then look at our sitter, see where the guides are from the previous lot, and then for this section, for communication, communicate with them on behalf of the sitter, see how they are trying to communicate with the sitter, and then give them some ideas about what they can do with the communication with their guides. So a lot that you can do with this section, and it can be very interesting once you get into a very good discussion with their guides or see what messages are coming through for them. Then if you are struggling yourself with the communication with guides, it can then help you to know how to access your guides and also how to look for messages. Or what you can do is you can cheat. We have access to people who do readings here in this course, so you're more than welcome to connect with your fellow students and then get a reading on your guides from them to assist you.